Hi there, listener. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. Just so you know, this show contains explicit language and some possible adult themes. Listeners under 13 or anyone who could be offended by the subject matter are given caution. Hello, I'm Wesley Van Hoosen, and this is Good Food for Bad Friends. On this podcast, I'll have a different guest every week to talk about their history with food. Along with each episode, you can find recipes inspired by the featured guest on our website, goodfoodbadfriends.com. Before I'd actually met her, Taylor was a force within my group of friends. She and I didn't meet for months after we learned of each other's existence. I always missed her visiting the bachelor house. When we finally did meet, it was magical. We clicked immediately and kept finding each other at the party that we were at. Not long after I met her, Taylor planned the very first Famsgiving. Famsgiving is our bad friend group's way of celebrating a holiday completely and totally devoted to food. Taylor and I usually coordinate it together now, but that first year it was just her. She sent out almost a sort of cast list of dishes assigned to people. I got to the bottom of the list and saw that my name wasn't there. I almost was relieved that I got to be a guest until Derek gingerly informed me that Taylor had put me in charge of the turkey. Granted, I was very fucking thrilled. To think that after months of degrees of separation and just one actual in-person experience, Taylor put her faith in me that I'd follow through on the centerpiece of a Thanksgiving meal. I knew that this newly forged friendship with Taylor would be a meaningful one. My friendship with Taylor is one of a kind. We both care immensely about the well-being of our friends, and she's honestly one of the most empathetic people I know. I've had issues in my life where Taylor was the person I knew I'd be okay talking to. She's always there, even if she's stressing out about something in her life too. Her capacity for love has no bounds, and she's a friend that I'll never let go of. It's not always easy finding someone who shares the same passion for food and family like I do, and her upbringing with food somewhat parallels mine. I think it's safe to say that when we combine our powers of food and parties, we are an unstoppable force. We've planned most of the large group parties involving any amount of cooking together. She and I are essentially a much nicer version of the party planning committee. Taylor was also the first person that drove home the idea that we were the bad friends. The whole bad friends idea within my group of friends has its actual origins elsewhere, long before I was ever a part of it. Before we started calling each other that, there was a core group of people who comprised the actual, quote, bad friends. From there, this strange gospel of friendship spread throughout, eventually webbing its way into a much, much larger group of people. If my understanding of the story is correct, Taylor is the one that decided that we would be the bad friends. So please join me in welcoming the OG bad friend, my good friend, Taylor Wald. Welcome, Taylor, to Good Food for Bad Friends.
Thank you.
This is an exciting episode for me because I always associate like the bad friends idea with you and like the group of people you have basically like, I would say like handpicked for like the group of
very
people.
Exclusive.
Yeah, it is and it isn't because it's like we're all terrible people, but
We're the fucking worst.
Yes, but at the same time, I always associate the like name or idea of Good Food or for Bad Friends kind of back to you. And also because your chapter in the book is like balls long. So because it's all of Thanksgiving. So we're gonna have to talk about Thanksgiving on this episode today too.
Oh yeah.
But well, I just want to say welcome and thank you so much for being here with me on this show. And my blog coming with pictures of my dog and about my 3 kids is coming as well, where you have to scroll 16 pages before you get the recipe. Fuck you. Don't you hate those though?
It's I like the ones that have like they have a skip to recipe button.
Yes.
I've come across a few of those and I'm like, nice, because I don't give a fuck about your kids.
It's like one of five bloggers do that. Everyone else is like, no, you're gonna fucking read how we were on a bus in Brazil and my husband got us out of a conflict negotiation. Like Like,
it is always some like privileged ass story where they're like, this is my daily like routine and like my kids did this and my
God.
husband blah, 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 blah.
And it's always like, we just have no time to spend with each other in our Hampton style kitchen, complete with 3 ranges and 2 Viking ovens. Like, why don't you crawl into one and go fuck yourself? Like, anyway, so that's how all this came about. Long story short.
I couldn't agree more.
The first question I have for everyone, because this is something I always wonder, because I know what the answer is for me, but what is the first like vivid memory of food in your life? It could be anything from like holiday traditions to things you were fed that maybe you were like, why am I being fed this? This is obviously something I don't like, but anything like that.
Okay, I have 2 and they're both really weird.
Perfect.
They go back to, I have like an insane weird memory where like I remember vivid details of like everything in my life, including song lyrics, as everybody knows. But when I was
you are a master at song. Like, you come in with like a new song. It takes me usually like a couple weeks to learn the words to, because I'm inept. And you're like, I heard this on the radio yesterday, and you know every verse. And they're usually rap songs too, which makes it twice as intense. Like,
it's a completely worthless talent of mine, but I mean,
I love it. I wish I could. I mean, hey, if they could, like, you know how they're like pre-programming computers to be brains, if they could like take that skill and just plant it in songwriters and performers, like,
seriously, I wish I could like give it to people who could actually use it for something.
They need to find that gene. I mean, you're a master at karaoke rap. Like, no one, you're unchallenged, so I will say that. But anyway, please continue. I'm so sorry.
So when I was like a small child, I don't even know how old I was, I used to eat coffee beans. Because my nana, who I was very, very close with, she was like my second mom. I was raised like by her and my mom simultaneously. And she would drink this like shit ass coffee. It was worse than Folgers, but I smelled the coffee as a child and I just like loved the way it smelled.
Sure, yeah.
Which explains why I'm a coffee psycho and I make coffee in a Chemex with like an electric kettle every single morning.
I have my Starbucks pumpkin cold cream brew foam, whatever the fuck it's called. So you would eat, you loved the smell of this coffee, and you would just eat the beans.
Would eat,
were they ground?
Straight up coffee. No, just like full beans.
Oh, shit.
So this was like, I would smell the coffee at my nana's house, but then at home, my dad was like the original like organic guy, like in like the 90s, before anybody gave a shit about like actually
he knew that
nutrients.
Like he knew that going to a pizza buffet that the poisonous lettuce was actually kale. Yeah. Like, he was that guy, and he's like, actually that's better for you.
It's like, yeah, you just like actually get something from it. But he would buy like really nice like whole bean coffee and like grind it himself from like a like barista grinder that was from like a Starbucks store. And I would just like, I would hide, I would take the bag of like whole coffee beans and I would hide in the couch cushions, and my parents would find me because they would like hear me crunching.
Yeah, that's not a quiet food.
I like thought I was being discreet and like eating coffee beans, and they were like, you just like can't fucking eat this. Like, this is probably why I'm 4'11", but
I can only imagine like
more.
if we were there, just finding like a small blonde-haired child crunching an espresso bean, because those are like, when you get like a chocolate covered espresso bean, which do you like chocolate covered espresso beans?
I haven't had one and I can't tell you how long, but I'm sure I would love it, especially like with my love for coffee now. I probably would love them.
I mean, it sounds like you're chewing on porcelain, so it's like what is that like small crunching sound?
You see my like little blonde bun
just like puffed out of wherever you're hiding.
So that's like my first like vivid food memory. I know it's like a beverage technically, but I just like loved coffee at a very young age, and my parents tried to talk me out of it, and I just couldn't be talked out of it. I started drinking it like as soon as they were like, all right, this is probably okay for you to start drinking.
For sure.
And then chocolate chip cookies. Also very influenced by my father, who was like the cookie connoisseur. He like has the secret cookie recipe, which like kind of stems from like the back of like the Nestle chocolate chip bag, but then he like
Yeah.
his own little twist on it. And like I just remember eating cookies that like my dad would make because he was obsessed with them, and he like travels the world to find the best chocolate chip cookie. So and my first sentence that I said, I can't remember like the variation of it, but like one of the first things I ever said was like some kind of variation of like talking about my dad and like a cookie, because I just always remember him like being obsessed with them. So I just remember eating them as a child, and I'm still a lunatic about them today.
Oh, I love that though. That's awesome. I mean, everyone loves a good chocolate chip cookie though. I mean, that is sort of
Oh yeah.
the Dylan just made some the other night. He bought a tube. And I love how now it's like you can eat it or you can bake it. And it's like we weren't asking, we were eating it.
We
Like,
were still eating it anyway.
yeah, it's like who are you kidding? That's like
Yeah.
it's like when, you know, like you go to the frozen section, it's like only eat half of this lean cuisine. That's a sensible meal. But well, that's like I love that though. I mean, chocolate chip cookies I feel like it's like the family cookie. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like
100%.
cuz you know, and no one denies how good it is, you know, and I can't think of another baked good maybe besides brownies where people are like,
Ooh.
fuck yes, there's good chocolate chip cookies here. Like
Hell yeah.
I don't know, and especially if someone's able to take an already like near perfect recipe of chocolate chip cookies and even like enhance it, like that's I want to try these cookies now. Like
I'll have to bring them sometime.
yes, eventually
Thanksgiving.
when we can fucking leave our
Be around
houses
humans again.
yeah. So the next thing so kind of keeping in your childhood, because I know you have a very strong food background.
Yeah.
Like you know what's up on how to feed a mass. So like what were the foods that you grew up with?
So I grew up with a very loud Sicilian family. So every holiday consisted of like lasagna and like making sauce from scratch. And we would make around
Yes.
Thanksgiving, we would make homemade noodles out of like one of those. We would like make the dough, and then we would like have one of those things that you clamp against the counter and you like crank them, and like you
Yes.
make any kind of like pasta you want.
Yeah, for sure.
So we would make our own pasta, make our own sauce. Like half the shit my family said to me growing up was, someone stir the sauce. Like, is somebody stirring the sauce? Stir the sauce, stir the sauce.
Did they like put you on a stool so you could reach the stove?
Oh, my Nana had me cooking. I was not even standing up, and I was like a part of the kitchen. Everything.
You know, it's so funny. You and I have talked about this like in person too, but we both grew up with very like influential grandparents as far as like getting us active in the kitchen. And I think it's such a blessing when, you know, someone has their kids helping out, because every parent fears knives, every parent fears burns. But at the same time, I hate to break it, but that's how you learn to not harm yourself, is to hurt yourself. Like you learn, oh fuck, maybe I shouldn't do it that way. But my
mom to this day will tell me, like, she'll be like, don't go near that, it's hot. And I'm like, sick, I'm 28. I know it's hot. Thanks,
my mom does that too. My mom like, the range is still hot. Okay, so your grandparents were the ones getting you, so your grandmother specifically was the one getting you in the kitchen. Were there things that like she would start you out on cooking? Like my granddad thought knife work was the was the best way to introduce an 8 or 9-year-old Wesley into the kitchen. So
I feel like everybody should have that introduction to the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know. He would give me like a chef's knife that was as big as my arm and be like, "Here, cut up a tomato." It's
Figure
like,
it out.
What? Yeah, it's like, I cut bell peppers into strips. Like that was all I knew how to do. But were there things that your grandmother kind of like would put you to right away, or she knew that it's like, okay, that's Taylor's job? Like
dough 100%
dough.
was
Oh
my
wow.
job. I'm actually very good with dough. I don't like to toot my own horn on this kind of shit, but I am pretty confident with my dough skills because my Nana just always, she was really good with it. My mom was not so good with it. She has rheumatoid arthritis, so it's kind of hard for her to like do it. So it was always like, I think it was just kind of handed down to me because my mom wasn't so active in that area, but my mom is like the master chef of the universe. but my nana always had me doing something dough related, or like she used to make these little cinnamon roll things that they were like really quick. It was just like a basic dough, butter, flour, whatever, and then like
Yeah.
cinnamon, sugar, and then she would just like roll it, cut them, and they were like this big, but they were
Like
super
cine
good.
minis.
Yes. And meringue. I don't know why. Meringue was like
Huh.
obvious. Like I don't know why it was like something that she had me do. I think it's because I thought it was hilarious that you could just like beat the shit out of an egg white and it would turn into something completely different. So I was
I
always
do
doing
love
that.
meringues. Do you like have you ever had pavlova before?
I don't think so.
You know, I thought maybe I made it for you guys. I don't know. I might
I'm
not have.
sure you have.
It's a you take egg whites and you whip them like a meringue, but instead of baking them on a really like slow oven where they crisp up, you put it in like a 400-degree oven and then you down the temperature as soon as you put it in, and
Hmm.
it like shocks the outside into this like crispy thing, but the middle slow cooks into this like marshmallowy, like billowy
Ooh.
breast of egg whites, and like, I don't know how else to describe it. And like, but like, I'm gay. I don't like breasts, so like, but then you top it with like I do passion fruit or like strawberries sometimes and whipped cream, and it's like an egg white cake in a
That
way.
sounds amazing.
But I love that. I love that you would do dough. That's one thing I feel like that's a great uh job to give to someone too, because that means that you have the strength for it, because it's
Hmm.
not an easy job. And also like I don't know, I feel like it takes a special kind of like I don't know if it's like warmth from someone or just care. I don't know what it is. Some people just have the ability to make dough better than how most of us could make it. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
probably like a combination of how overly empathetic I am to everyone in the universe and how incredibly sensitive I am, even though I talk like a piece of shit. So I think it's like my translation of that into like food.
I mean, hey, I whatever it is, it's useful for dough. I mean, I think
Hmm.
I can't make it. I don't know. I went through a bread phase and it just never worked out. And I'm just like, nah, I'll just make cakes.
I am determined to make a sourdough like everyone else in the world. I've yet to do it. We just got a Dutch oven, so like I'm ready
Nice.
to make my first sourdough, but I need
Dutch
to find a starter from somewhere.
Dutch ovens, yeah, I've always been afraid of that because I don't. It's like I don't know how to take care of it. I'm afraid I'd
Yeah.
forget about it.
I don't
Like,
want my own. I don't want to like make my own. I want to go into like a bakery and be like, "Hey, can I like have some of yours?"
have
And
some
then
of
just
yours.
like,
Yeah, I feel like there are bake shops though that sell their excess starter. I feel
"Oh,
like
I'm
that's a
sure they do."
thing. Yeah, they intimidate me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm afraid I would fuck it up, but I don't know. With cakes too, I feel like bread takes such an incredible like or just yeast dough goods type stuff. It takes an incredible amount of patience
Hmm.
to really get it right. And I feel like with me, I'm much more of the like I just want to throw shit in a bowl, in a pan, get it in the oven, and then you have a cake, which isn't
Yep.
bread. But
It's
um
just better bread.
yeah, it's just sweeter, better frosting filled bread. Uh so around the holidays, I know that you have shared with us every year your stuffing, your
Hmm.
grandmother's stuffing recipe at Thanksgiving. Are there any other dishes though that you mentioned lasagna? Was there
Hmm.
any others though that are really like these are going to come out at the holiday season? It's like the once a year like this is being made for Christmas or whatever.
That's so tough because my family always like would experiment with something different.
My
Um,
family's the same way.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
always
Well,
something. I wish I could
let
make enough
me
sauce to like share with you guys. Like, so
right.
I probably will like when we can all see each other again. I would
Dude,
love to like because
that
we
dinner party is gonna be fucking real.
it's
Like,
gonna be lit. I so like I oh that's what I was saying. I lost my train of thought earlier, but around Thanksgiving we would like make our own pasta and then we would make our own sauce and then we would freeze it and we would use half of it for Thanksgiving and half of it for Christmas.
oh, nice.
So
I
we
like
had
that.
like that was just like our little technique that we did. I wish I could think of like something else. I'm so bad at like off the cuff
No,
shit
it's all
like
good.
this, but
Let me ask this then. Are there things? So you mentioned that your family kind of changes things up
mhm,
every year. Are there things that were like, um, I don't know. In my family, we go through like phases of foods that we eat. So like
mhm,
for a couple years, it's like all Asian shit, And then for another year, it's like, oh, let's do like appetizers or whatever. And
Mhm.
I guess I'm trying to ask her, like, are there any times when like your family would try something and it kind of like stuck around, um, or what maybe something that your family tried and you were like, nope, this is not
Ooh.
what I'm
So
feeling.
so we used to make two versions of that stuffing that I bring.
Yeah.
We used to make a version with like raisins and shit, and I despise raisins in any sort of cooking. I think it's just like the most dog shit way of like, no offense to anybody who's like, I love raisins, but fuck you. Because I can't stand like stuffing
They're
with
all
like a
crying
raisin.
into their box of Sunmaids right
Yeah,
now.
like what the fuck are you doing? Put your cranberry sauce on top, like at Thanksgiving, but don't put raisins in my
That's the
stuffing. And
thing. Yeah, you
my
already have a
nana always
berry
used to make
there.
that shit. So when my nana passed away in 2010. So after she passed, we were like, we're not making this raisin stuffing anymore because there were like a handful of people who liked it, and the rest of us were not animals, and we ate stuffing without raisins.
It's it's funny. I've had this conversation before. I think it was with Derek, and it was
Hmm.
like how the previous generations used to just put weird things in their food. Like
Yeah.
everything else is great, but why the fuck are there olives? Or why the hell are there raisins? Or why are there like weird foreign ingredients that don't belong here? I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
that's like making lasagna with cottage cheese to me.
Oh,
It's like the same offense, like
yeah.
punishable by you're never allowed to cook at Christmas ever again. But
Yep,
yeah,
I
no, it's just
agree.
like I feel like in the 60s and 70s, people were like, oh my God, there's new cans of things. Let's try it out and not erase them from the cookbooks. Like,
That is exact. I was just thinking about this like right before I got on this call. Like I
yeah,
was thinking about that because there are so many recipes. Like I feel bad that I don't make a lot of the stuff that my family used to make because it's all like they're such old recipes
yeah.
that they have so much bad shit in them that I do not eat or I eat like very little of. I
Oh,
eat
yeah.
like a very like plant-based like vegetable like pretty clean diet for the most
Yeah,
part.
for sure.
And like my mom has this recipe, like there's some amazing stuff that she makes that was passed down from like my great nana who came from Sicily, or my aunt Mary Jane who was married to my nana's brother.
Yeah.
And she, oh my God, she's a badass. I love her. But she has all these like crazy appetizer recipes, and they're all like just the wildest mix of things I've ever seen. Like she has this cheesy rice recipe, and it's like it calls for like a can of Cheese Whiz. God forbid you use actual cheese. It's like Cheese Whiz, water chestnuts, 800 pounds of butter, and broccoli. And I'm just like, wow, this is so good. But what the fuck like prompted this recipe to come to be?
I'm so excited to see you. Can I just say to everyone listening, I haven't seen Taylor. When was the last time I saw you? Did you come to my
I
house in March when we threw our last
Yes.
party? Okay,
Yep.
so that was the last time I saw you.
Holy shit.
For the everyone listening, I love Taylor. Taylor and I have been like close as shit since we first met. And
Hmm.
like I met you at a party too. It was like everyone was like, "Oh my God, you have to meet Taylor Wald. You have to meet Taylor Wald." Wesley, why haven't you met Taylor Wald yet? And I'm just like, I don't know who this person is. And I remember I think it was when the guys moved into Damon, they threw their housewarming party, and Derek
Hmm.
grabbed me by the hand and he was like, "Wesley, this is Taylor. Taylor, this is Wesley." And we were like, "Oh my God, hi." But anyway, I'm just so excited to see you and be talking to you. It just is like a
I love
complete joy.
you.
I
This is
love you. But
wonderful.
okay, so we were talking about weird things in food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. My grandmother, I inherited a lot of her recipes and it was the same thing. Like
Hmm.
I inherited her carrot salad recipe, which was basically just mayonnaise, raisins, and wet carrots. And like vinegar. It's like a weird amount of vinegar. It's like I
It's
don't
probably so
get it.
fucking good though.
I I don't know about I don't know. So yeah, no. That's definitely something I've come across or just like trying to revive recipes too, or
Hmm.
look at some that like people actually for every person's episode, I'm going to do 2 recipes for the social media and post the recipe that like something we've talked about in the show. I have a lot to pick from with you because we have holidays to talk about still. But yeah, no, I have had a couple people come to me with recipes, and they're like pictures of a postcard or pictures of like a index card.
Yep.
And there's crossed out ingredients. It's like, oh yeah, that wouldn't be fucking good in that, would it? It's like some angry family member was like, fuck you, raisins. Why are you in this? Fuck you. It's always raisins, olives, or anchovies. Yeah. There's always like there's like an anchovy craze for a while.
I think Nick is the only person on planet Earth who still eats like canned anchovies.
I cook with them. I do enjoy anchovies as an ingredient, but I don't eat like sardines out of a can though. Oh. God, I eat them fried. I'll eat fried sardines, but I don't. God, as soon as you heard that cat food can open with Nick, it's like, get out, get out. Oh fuck.
They used to like time how long he had been home for, like based on how strongly the sardines or anchovies or the fuck they are.
It was I think with that it was sardines. Oh, because they came, in the little tin square can, and you have the open flap. It's like Spam almost, which I also don't like. Oh boy. Okay, so one thing, so growing up though, so we did talk a lot about holidays. Was there a meal though that was kind of common, just like any night of the week growing up? It would just be on the table quick and you guys would eat it. But it's sort of, I don't know, for our family, there was meals it's like, oh yeah, we ate a lot of that growing up. Was there anything like that for you?
My mom makes this amazing like curry chicken recipe. And so we ate that a decent amount. I did not appreciate it as a child because I had like a bullshit palate of like, I only liked Italian food. I only liked pasta, and I only liked like carbs and shitty stuff and like
let me ask you something. Do you know what your mom craved while she was pregnant with you?
Yes. She craved, okay. So several things. Gyros were a huge one.
Okay.
She was very sick most of the time that she was pregnant with me, so she only gained like 11 pounds in the first 8 months, I think, because she was just like so sick. Jeez. But she ate gyros and she kept them down, no problem, no issue with like gyros. She couldn't drink water, but she could eat a gyro. And she craved, I think she told me it was like a hot dog, but like it had to be the kind that like stuck to the tin foil that you get at like Home Depot or shit like that. It had to stick to the
I love that that's so specific, but I know exactly what she's talking about, because there is that little food stand at Home Depot where you can get a hot dog.
Best damn hot dog.
I'm waiting for my lumber. Let me get a hot dog. That'd be me. I'm waiting for my wood. Let me just go grab a dong.
True.
That's so. I love that.
Those are two things
though.
that I like. Those are the two like main things I remember her telling me that she craved.
For sure. Well, my point was that because this happened with me and my brother. As kids, we only liked the food that our mothers craved when they were pregnant. So with my brother, it was fucking Tombstone pizza or Jack's pizza or sticks
the
to
kind
your
you cut with a knife
pizza. Yeah.
That's what we used to do.
Yeah. Or a mezzaluna if you're a child, because you can't use the chef's knife yet. But I think mezzalunas are so much more dangerous. Like it's just like rocking back and forth. It's like you could just kill yourself if you're not careful. You don't know where it's gonna go. No. That's so funny. Oh my God. But yeah, no. That was my brother. With me, it was Mexican food. I fucking loved Mexican food as a kid. And I still do to this day. I was just wondering though, because sometimes I feel like kids will eat what their mothers craved, and I wondered if that was the case with you when you were a child at all.
I think when I was a kid, I didn't like hot dogs because they gave me headaches. Okay. I didn't start liking
foods like that too. Yeah.
I didn't start liking gyros until I was like a teenager and like really appreciated like food that wasn't pasta or M&Ms. Sure.
Oh my God, that just reminds me of Elf. Doesn't he put M&Ms in the spaghetti that he's eating? Oh God. Nervous. Oh geez. Okay, so continue.
The one thing, okay, I remember another thing. So my parents and like my whole family used to visit Jamaica a lot. I don't know why, but that was like their place. They were in Jamaica all the time. And they would stay in like communities with like these women who just like lived there and like lived in these huts, and they were just like best friends with like all these people that lived in Jamaica because they were there so often.
Sure, yeah.
And which is like so wild, because like people don't really go to Jamaica anymore because
Well,
it's like
I that, and also I think it's interesting to think of our parents at that. It's like our age. That's like things
Yeah.
we would do. We would go to Cancun together, or God, could you fucking imagine? Oh
that
my
we would never be able to come back. We would be like exiled immediately.
No, I could get us out. I speak Spanish. We're fine. I get us out. Mis amigos son idiotas. Necesitamos ir a los Estados Unidos. Por favor. Me gusta Selena. That'd be like, oh man.
They'd be like, okay, you're good.
Okay, you're fine. Sing como la flor and you're fine. Como la flor. Anyway. But no, I think that's interesting though that our parents were like doing stuff like that. They were going to other countries and having their sort of like was this before you were born, I'm assuming?
Yes, this was like my parents went on their honeymoon to Jamaica,
like
and like they would go a million times before that. Yeah.
Right. You know, our parents had lives at one point.
They really did. My parents, they had the best time.
My parents did a lot of hiking. That was kind of their pre-Wesley life. A lot of trips to Colorado and hiking, and they loved camping. They both loved camping, which is not a love I share. But
same. I'm not fucking into it.
No. I need a shower. I need a mirror. It's okay if it's like one night. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's like we're going to go for the weekend, it's like you're going to go for the weekend. I'm going to go Friday night and then drive back to the city. But so we were we got on this tangent. Okay, so your parents would go to Jamaica. Was there there was a point to all this?
There was a point to this.
Yes, so sorry.
So this woman that they were friends with used to she would make these, I don't know like exactly what they were, but I was always a really good vegetable eater. And I think this is the reason for that. So this woman would make these like vegetable sandwiches. It was like all these like peppers and like all like the vegetables just like grew around them. And she made these like sandwiches with them. And they were like these vegetables that were all like sitting in this container. I just remember like my mom told me this story. She was like, my nana was in Jamaica. My mom was home. She was pregnant with me. And my nana was like, do you want me to bring you anything back? And she was like, I want one of those fucking vegetable sandwiches from the woman who makes them. So my nana took it, like she took it on the plane home with her. Cause like, it wasn't like refrigerated or anything. Like she just like carried it the way it was and just like fucking smuggled this like Jamaican vegetable sandwich to my mom. And my mom like ate it and it was like amazing, I guess. And everybody was obsessed with them. And I've always, even when I was a kid, I was really good at eating like vegetables. I was always a really good trier. I would try anything. So I just ate vegetables. I'm really good about that.
I wasn't a good veggie eater or like good for you food eater because I don't know. I wasn't fed well at daycare. I think that was a big problem. We got a lot of like Little Debbie Hostess Diet Coke at daycare. Yeah. Remember, this was not now. This was like 25 years ago or 20 years ago.
How did people even live to be 50? Like how are we alive? We ate
how did
dog
people
shit.
drink? How did like our grandparents be like, I've had a Mountain Dew every day and I think it keeps me alive. I'm like, that's dissolving you from within, sir. Like, have you ever watched The Rat Gets Dissolved in Mountain Dew YouTube video?
Literally.
But no, I don't get it. Everyone smoked. Everyone ate, 6 pieces of bacon and 5 eggs every day. Like, just like, I don't know. I imagine like if I ate breakfast in the 1970s, it's like a pot of black coffee, 10 strips of bacon, 3 over easy eggs, half a loaf of bread, and a pack of cigarettes. Yep. Like that's like the 1960s, 1970s breakfast. Like,
my mom used to smoke Virginia Slim 100s.
Oh, me too. When I first started smoking when I was queer.
Oh, they're so fucking gross. They're the worst smell I've ever smelled in my life. My mom hasn't smoked for I think 3 or 4 years now. I finally got her to quit smoking.
You and your mom actually inspired me to quit smoking too, because I quit smoking because I was like, Taylor will be disappointed, and I know that her mom is quitting. I would think that because it's hard to kick. It's very hard to kick, and that when even indirectly know someone that is trying to quit, it's almost like you have a weird bond through someone. It's like, well, I know they're trying to quit too. And, you know,
Mhm.
if they can do it, I can do it. So that being said, I do kind of owe you and your mom a thank you, because I remember you
Aw.
telling me your mom was quitting smoking, and I was smoking a lot. And
Mhm.
so vocal fry, don't do it. It's really bad for
Yay!
you.
I'm
Yay.
so proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't smoked in, gosh, probably about a year.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I think I quit right after like my 26th birthday, and yeah, that was not that long ago. Wow, that's crazy. And then, you know, time flies after a while. It's just like, oh shit,
Yeah.
it's been a long time, and I don't need to spend $19 on a pack of
Oh
cigarettes.
yeah, especially in Chicago. It's one thing in the suburbs when it's like $4, but you're like, it's like
Oh
$70
man,
for like a carton of cigarettes.
in Nebraska in like 2009, a pack of cigarettes was like 265 in
Hmm.
Nebraska for like a cheap shitty pack of cigarettes. I used to smoke American Spirits, which were 365. Now, and it's not like that now. And going to
Uh-huh.
Nebraska, it's like I know I stay at my mother's solely so I don't kick back into smoking, because
Hmm.
oh, Linda will whoop my ass if I start smoking again. But
My grandma to this day, my grandma on my dad's side, so not
yeah,
my mom's mom,
yeah.
but my grandma smokes unfiltered Pall Malls. She has a patch on her arm, and she has an electronic cigarette that she all like funnels into her body all day, every day. I don't know
Wow.
how she does it.
You know, my babysitter growing up, she was in her like 60s when I was a
Hmm.
kid, and she chain smoked Marlboros. I'd have no idea what we were talking about before that tangent on smoking.
I don't either. I think we were talking about the vegetable sandwich from Jamaica, and that's
Vegetables.
the
Oh
last thing I
yeah.
remember.
Sure. And then I was talking about, oh, you were talking about how you were a good veggie eater as a kid.
Yes.
I knew what was in the food, and I would just throw a fit at that point. Um so the next thing I'm really interested to know is, did you have a favorite place to go out to eat when you were a kid, or was there like maybe even a drive-through that you would go to? It's like, oh shit, we're
Oh,
going to
hell
this
yeah.
place. Yeah.
Yep. I've
Okay.
got a bunch of those. So I
For
grew up
sure.
in Waukegan. I was like 7 or 8 when we moved to Antioch. So most of like
Okay.
my young childhood was in Waukegan, and like all my family lived there. My nana lived like 5 minutes away from us. So
Sure.
she
Yeah.
would always take me through the Shirl's drive-through. I don't know if you know what Shirl's is,
I've
but
never been there, and
so
Derek has told me to go too.
oh, I'm
Maybe it
sure.
was
Yeah,
someone.
Kenosha people
Maybe it
love
was
Shirl's.
Harvey. Might have been Harvey. I don't know. Someone told me to go to Shirl's.
Yeah, I'm sure that that whole crew probably knows like what it is because it's so like close to us. I think there's
Hmm.
one in Zion, and there might be one up in Kenosha. But I that was like my favorite place. I loved the chocolate and vanilla like swirl ice cream cone. That was my shit when I was a kid. It was my favorite thing in the world. I would get so stoked if we were going to Cheryl's. And then another place called Louis that had these breadsticks that were absolutely out of control
I've
and like blue
heard.
cheese
Okay,
dressing.
I've heard of this place because I went on looking on a food blog of like restaurants near Chicago,
Hmm.
and Louis came up specifically for their breadsticks.
Yep.
Like,
Louis
so
is
I've
fucking
heard of that
amazing.
place, and that's in Waukegan.
That's in Waukegan too. And
Okay.
then another pizza place called Quonset. I remember that vividly.
Okay.
Just like they had this like I think their crust was like not braided, but it was like it wasn't like straight. It was like
Oh yeah, yeah.
curly shape.
Yeah. They have you can get like cutters that kind of do
Yeah.
that to the dough to make it almost look like a twist or a
Yeah.
braid. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. It was so good. Even like I've never been a big like pizza person. I know I'm
Okay.
like a serial killer for that, but I just have never been like really big on
No,
pizza.
it's no. I mean, I get it, and I feel like too. A lot of people I know who are like true Italian, they're pasta. It's all pasta.
Yeah.
Pasta's where
We
it's
didn't
at.
eat pizza. We didn't make pizza. It's like it wasn't a part. I mean, I guess it depends on where you're from in Italy. We're Sicilian, so like our big focus was on like red
Sauces.
sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, and it's oh, I love Italian food so goddamn much.
it's the
It's so
best.
fucking good. I actually have see. Okay, my question for you is: so your family has a Sicilian background. Do
Hmm.
you does the Sicilian cuisine is there anything else famous besides just like red sauce? I know clam sauce comes from Sicily too,
Mm-hmm.
or like part like kind of comes from there. But like, are there any other foods that you know of that are like particular to Sicily that are maybe kind of like underrated in the cuisine or just don't get mentioned a lot?
Um, that's really tough. I guess maybe like our meatball recipe is like it differs because I could be totally wrong about this. This is like a
Sure.
fact check moment. I have
I'll
not
write it
done enough
down.
research or asked enough questions like to my family because we have like most of us are Sicilian, but there's a lot of like people that in my family that are from different parts of Italy that are not Sicily. So
Yeah,
there's like kind of like a hybrid of like all these recipes that have been like put together from everybody's
for sure.
background. So like
Yeah.
I think the meat that you use in your meatballs or certain like pastas kind of define where your family might be from. And I like we use oh god, I'm like totally blanking on the fucking meatball and sauce recipe right now. But we use like a combination of like different types of meats, whereas like some
Yeah,
are only pork or like some are
sure.
only like beef.
My my recipe, I kind of cheat the system because I
Mhm.
will mix Italian sausage with beef. And that
That
kind
sounds
of like
great.
it's like, a generic seasoning. It's Italian, but
Hmm.
I'll still throw some stuff in. But usually mine is ground pork and ground beef. If it's fancy meatballs, it's ground pork and ground veal, which is like
Ooh,
it's
yeah,
like
veal's
here's
another
some
big one.
unethical meatballs. Like I hope you enjoy them. The cow sure did. But I mean, yeah, no, I do love my meatball recipe. Do you fry them? Is that something your family does?
Yes.
Okay, me too. That's
So
something. And
we fry them and then we cook them the rest of the way in the sauce.
okay, I'm on
Yep.
track then. I'm doing it the right way. When I did it the first time, I feel like I cooked my spaghetti and meatballs. So my recipe comes from my paternal grandmother and my maternal grandfather. So these are two different families. I know, fucking. We
I
have
have
like.
like something in my face right now, so I like can't see where it's coming
Oh my
from.
god! I've just been watching. Oh my god! I've been watching like the intervention show from A&E on YouTube, and it's just like people swatting at
The
nothing.
best show on
Like,
earth.
oh my god! Okay, so my grandmother's recipe was very tomatoey. It was very
Hmm.
like southern interpreted tomato sauce. Like
Yeah.
by mixing the two, I've managed to literally combining the two recipes. I managed to find a sauce that was like approved by Italians because
Ooh,
that was tough.
that's
Nick
tough.
approved it, and I don't know if I've ever made spaghetti and meatballs for you,
I'm
but
open to it.
I'll have to. But in the meatball recipe, I feel like meatballs are fun because you really can season them in like different ways because there's not
Hmm.
just everyone kind of always does just like the plain catch all of the seasonings with Italy, but I always find like would you say Sicilian meatballs might be a little bit lighter? Because I feel like that's a big argument too, is that the flavoring can either be really rich or it can be really light and just like fresh tasting. Do you see any difference there maybe?
My family's everything they make is like super rich.
Okay.
It's like rare that we would come across like a light dish
See,
that
and that
was
is
like a
because
family recipe.
I feel like Sicilian food is kind of famous for that because it's
Yeah.
very sauces cook for like 5 days on
Oh yeah, it's like a
that
whole 12-hour
crazy
ordeal.
shit like that, and it's like me. I
Hmm.
make marinara sauce in like a half an hour, like, and
Which
I'm
is
sure.
like I can't even fathom doing that. If you say you're making sauce, I think it's a whole day at least that
I
you're going to
mean,
be dedicating to
it
this.
can be a whole day if I really want it to be,
Uh-huh.
but my shortcut is I just do crushed tomatoes. This is all canned,
Hmm.
but it's fast. Crushed tomatoes, tomato paste. I saute onions, garlic. I put all of the seasonings in a mortar and pestle
Hmm.
with the garlic, so the water leaches out of the garlic and starts to kind of rehydrate the seasonings and
Ooh,
melt the salt a little bit. And then I'd put that in, and then I dash it with marsala, and then I add all of
that's fucking
the
innovative.
tomatoes.
I love
It's
that.
it's the quick way, and that's the thing. It's like if you really want to get that garlic flavor out, just mash the fuck out of it with salt and herbs because
Hmm.
it'll flavor everything there. And then I cook it in bacon fat usually too, because it's
You
like
can't go wrong with that.
no, it's you really. And sometimes I'll throw beef bouillon in if I'm
Hmm.
kind of going for like a meat sauce flavor, but no, marinara is the easiest thing, but I do appreciate it when I get to have sauce that's cooked for like days. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit. I've only had that maybe like twice in my life. And each time it was just like, oh my God, this is like, it was just mind blowing. And of course, I was
Yeah.
too young to really appreciate it, but I knew it was good. But it's
And plus,
just,
you're getting like the sweat and like probably tears because it's Italians and they're fucking dramatic. Like you're getting like human DNA in your fucking pasta
I
and
mean,
sauce. It's probably what
yeah,
makes it
but
so amazing.
that's the thing, though. I mean, that's one thing I always tell. One time I cut myself cooking, and my mom freaked out. I was like, I came out of you. Calm down. Like,
Moms just freak out whenever like if I like stub my toe, my mom's like, "Oh my God," and I'm like, "I'm fine." But like moms just flip over stuff like that because they like just want to protect you.
were there any like sit down? Well, you mentioned some sit down places in your favorite restaurants. Now that I'm dialing us back to that. Were
That's
there
the
any
thing
other
is like
places or
I don't remember like a lot of sit down places. I probably like I'm gonna hate myself because it's gonna come to me like as soon as we're done.
just text
But
me and I
like
can mention it in the
we just cooked
afterthoughts?
we cooked so much.
Yeah,
Like I really don't remember going out to eat very often. Not that we like just didn't want to. We just like we
sure.
it was like our thing. We all cooked almost every
Yeah, it
night,
was a
every
part of
weekend.
it was part of your ritual, your daily,
Yeah.
being with everyone. I totally get that. That's what dinner was for my family too.
Hmm.
That's one thing I'm really grateful to my family for. Even though as an angsty teenager I avoided it, was having family
Same.
dinner cuz it is a way, even if people are mad at each other or my little bitch ass brother was kicking me from under the table, you're still around everyone at some point. And
Yeah.
I think I know I said this to someone else too on the show, but I think our generation really got the last of that, like as a regular thing,
Hmm.
because now phones dominate and TV and Instagram, like everything. Technology
Yeah.
is so far above homeliness now. And when I was growing up, we still had a landline. We didn't all have cell
Oh
phones. We
yeah,
didn't,
same.
if someone wanted to get on the internet, you had to block the telephone. Like you couldn't use the phone because it would just scream at you with the angry AOL sounds.
Yep.
Like we grew up in just a different era of that, and I think that's one thing that I really hope to carry on to another generation, is that importance of just being around your family at some point in the day. If it's dinner, if it's breakfast, if it's, you know, 10 o'clock at night and you're all meeting in a hallway, that's fine. Like
Hmm.
that's what we did for a while when I was a teenager. Like, it's like, so what did you do today? I went to rehearsal for 7.5 billion hours. Okay, goodbye. Like, but I'm very grateful though that, our families were keen on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now, are there foods that you find you've really come to appreciate as a teenager, when you were a teenager, or like now as you become an adult? Are there just like, how have your tastes and cuisines shifted, or like, are there any new things that pop out at you that you're just, grateful for that you have around your kitchen?
Oh my God. There are a million things, especially like since moving to the city. I had
Yeah,
such a like bland palate. I never knew how bland it actually was, but it's just because like I ate like a certain style of food my whole life because that's like what my family cooked.
sure,
Everything
yeah,
my mom made was amazing, but it was like mostly like American food. Whereas like when you move to any city, like any kid who moves from the suburbs to a city is going to experience some shit they've never seen before. And it was for me, it was like a lot of Asian food, like sushi, ramen, huge. It's like I never ate anything like that growing up, never even thought to eat
that's
something like
all.
that.
That's all we fucking ate in my house. No, that's not true. But I love. This is so funny because I think it's just one of those things where I grew up eating Asian food,
Hmm.
and I fucking loved American food. I
Hmm.
craved hamburgers over ramen any day. But ramen was what my mother was given, and she didn't really want me cooking. And Asian food is kind of notoriously like instant. It's kind of been
Yeah,
all made instant. So
except
that was
ramen.
it was just except the real legit shit ramen.
we
Like,
we made it for the first time ever from scratch for Carlson's birthday a while ago, and it
yeah.
was unbelievable.
Did you
It took
yeah.
forever, but it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh my god. I fucking love ramen. There is Fun fact, there's a restaurant in Japan that's been cooking their ramen broth for over 100 years. It's the
Holy
same
shit.
broth. It's just always just been refilled constantly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Carlton too. He loves ramen like and Asian food so much. He wants us to go to Japan more than anything in
Dude,
the
oh my
world.
God, Dylan and I want to do Japan too. We want to do like, well, it's weird because if I go to Japan, that means my whole family has to go. Like if
Yeah.
one of us goes, we all made this promise to each other that we would go, but we couldn't just go alone. We had to take everybody.
Yep.
So it would
That's exactly
be,
how my family is with Sicily.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yep.
we would all love to go to Japan, and we have family there still.
Mhm.
Who we have cousins there, and we also have possibly an illegitimate cousin in South Korea. I have an illegitimate uncle in South Korea, I think. Like,
Fuck yeah.
because my granddad was in the military.
We love to
Whoopsie.
see
But
it.
no, I mean that's our rule though. But Japan is like bucket list. We were gonna try to go in 2022, but you know everything's been
everything
pushed forward
sucks.
2 years. So who knows though? But my God, it would be so fucking amazing. I didn't know that Carlton liked Asian food so much.
Oh my God, it's his like he lives for it. It's his favorite thing in the world.
He and I should cook together because I suck at sushi though. But I mean I do know how to make some of the like kind of traditional Asian-y Japanese foods we would have at home, like soba. I know how to make soba. I know how to make like miso soup the way you're supposed to do miso soup.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. I had no idea he liked Asian food. Most of the people in our group like Thai food or just Southeast Asian cuisine, and I didn't know that he liked Japanese food that
he loves
intensely.
all of it. Yeah, it's like
Sure,
his favorite thing ever. He's a lot of the reason that like because he's from the city, he like has always like really pushed me to like try new things because I was so like set in my ways when I first moved here, and I'm so thankful for that because I like have so many different palettes and like tastes that I crave now, and like just I've been introduced to so many things because of him. So like I appreciate that he's like pushed me to try new shit.
I kind of try to do that with Dylan. Love him, but he's picky.
I'm like I was saying, I'm a really good trier. So
that's good though. Yeah, you are. Yeah, that's good. He's not. I don't know if he's outside my door, but that's so awesome. I love though that you have a significant other, you know, who's not only like he's a really fucking talented musician. For those of you listening, what's his socials? So they could find him if anyone's listening.
His Instagram is Carlton Coldike Music, which is so fucking long. I want him to change it.
And it's spelled like Carleton, not Carlton.
Yeah, like nothing about his name is spelled like conventionally. So like I have to like spell it out for you.
I can. Well, text. I'll put it in the notes of the episode then.
Let's do that.
But
I'm
either way,
he's spell it all out.
Super talented musician. But that's amazing though that he's someone who's been like, no, you ought to try these things, and it's always. I don't know. It's for me. I always felt like I was that person for people, but even then, it's hard because I don't like to discriminate against someone if they really honestly don't like it. Yeah. Because it's like, and that's hard. Sometimes people are too nice, and so I'm always really bad at like pushing people out of their comfort zone because I'm just like, oh, I don't want someone to fucking hate it. I'd feel so bad. Like, but that's amazing though. Were there other foods that you've come to like, are there any like other cuisines or dishes or things like that?
I'm sure there's a million that I'll think of as soon as like this is done, but like one of them, I think I mentioned it earlier, my mom used to make this curry chicken that I hated when I was a kid.
Sure.
I was like, what the fuck is this like flavor? I can't even like comprehend this.
Yeah.
She puts like 6 times the amount of curry powder the recipe even calls for. So it like is very, very strong flavored, but I love it now. Oh my God. She made it the other day. I went nuts for it. It was the first time I've like really eaten it since I've been like an adult who is willing to like go outside of eating Italian food and like shit ass American food. So oh my God, hang on, my computer's like telling me something right now.
That's okay.
But yeah, that's like the curry chicken is another thing that I can think of. Other than that, I'm sure there's a million of
Yeah.
them, but I just can't think off the top of my head
Is it
right
like
now.
chicken in a sauce, or is it just like chicken? How's it served?
It's like chicken with butter and
Oh,
this and rice and broccoli, and then she uses I can't remember if it's I think it's a cream of chicken soup that she
okay.
uses, and then she just made it. She like walked me through the whole thing, and I'm like totally blanking on it now. I'm sure it's written on like a bent up postcard somewhere in like our family recipes that I can find with like that. Oh my god, what you were saying about the notes and like all the different like crossed out shit
Yes.
on
Yeah.
recipes. Holy shit! So like we finally uncovered my Nana's cookbook
Oh shit.
last year, and it
Holy
was
Grail.
the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. And like her handwriting was so like it was like this beautiful like cursive handwriting. You can't read half of it, but it's like very nice looking. And there's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my mom is always stressed like because I try new recipes all the time.
Hmm.
I don't make a ton of like what my family used to make because I try to like eat pretty healthy, but
Sure. Yeah.
like because like no one knew in the 90s how shitty all that stuff was for you. So like as good as it is, I'm just not gonna make it
Man,
like
I love
unless it's a special occasion.
not to send us on a tangent, just as a side note, I love diet fads. They're so interesting to read about.
I know,
Like
right?
like how in the 90s like I eat 12 strips of bacon and 6 eggs and I'm losing weight. It's like how? Like
Or
why?
like just making diet versions of food using like these
Oh
artificial
god.
sweeteners that weren't sugar, or like the obsession over the fat content in a food.
Yeah, fat
Like
free, no sugar.
I'm finally
Uh
like getting my parents to come around. My mom just started an anti-inflammatory, like gluten-free, everything free, refined sugar-free diet.
yeah,
So
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
proud of her for it. She's like so happy and she feels so much better. She lost a shit ton of weight and she looks awesome. Her skin is like glowing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she like it took me a long time to get her like off of this because she sees me and my dad eat the way that we do. I'm even more of a psycho about it than my dad is now, which is crazy. But
Yeah.
what was I gonna? Oh, they were telling me how like I would eat avocados and they'd be like, "Well, there's so much fat in an avocado," and I'm like, "It's different kinds of fat.
Yeah.
Like it's healthy fat, and if you don't eat like 12 avocados a day, you're not gonna gain weight from like that
Yeah.
kind of fat." And like I have to just like I've done so much research. I mean, I'm not a fucking dietitian,
The
but
big
I've done
one,
a lot of research and I know
yeah,
like shit.
the big one in my family was real butter.
Yep.
Shifting my mother over to stop using margarine. I'm like,
Yeah.
Mom, they've shown that margarine is really bad for you. It's a molecule from plastic. Like
Yep.
it's chemicals. Like eat butter. Don't eat a lot of it, but use what you need and it's gonna be way better for you. Or
Yeah.
ghee. Use ghee. That's even better because you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about the dairy part. But no, I totally understand that. It's like it's really like unprogramming their brain from decades of really bad food science.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, so you were talking, I totally sent us on a tangent, so sorry. We were talking about you uncovered your grandmother's cookbook, like the
Yes.
cookbook.
And there's so my mom would always stress to me like because I try all these new recipes, she'd be like, okay, make a note for next time. Like make sure you like write it down because then you're gonna like if you don't write it down, you're gonna do it again, you're gonna fuck it up again. So
Right,
just like
right.
remember, write shit down. And there's like we found all these recipes with all these notes, or like a recipe that my great nana wrote down that my nana made, and she like made this note, and then my mom made it, and she was like, the measurements aren't even fucking clarified. How did they like recreate this recipe to begin with?
Yeah.
There's so many things like that. And I have this, so we have like a safe in our apartment that my parents bought us, and we keep our like really important shit in there. And one of
Yeah.
those things is my nana's pumpkin square recipe that is on this like tattered like it's like one of the, you know those like little boxes, and they would have like cards in them that were like recipe cards.
Yeah, I have like 6 of them because I
Yeah.
got them as birthday gifts for 6 years.
Yep.
I think I donated 5. I kept one wooden one that has all my grandmother's recipes are like double ziplocked. Like, I think I like heat sealed one of them because I'm like these are not getting wet. Like and they sit inside that recipe box. I totally know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like it's like a card from one of those things.
Got it.
And it's
So
like
it's like
bent in
it's like
half
a
and like
tattered
torn.
index card and
Yes.
Yeah, those are the
And
best
it's like
recipes.
it really is, and it's like half of it's vegetable oil, and like it's just so good though, and like the cream cheese frosting, it's the
Yeah,
most amazing thing ever.
that
And I'm
sounds
like
so
making it for
good.
Thanksgiving a few years ago. We were going to Carlton's parents for Thanksgiving, and I was making them, and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe we used to like make this recipe and be like, this is great. Like, this is a really
Yeah.
good idea to feed people half a fucking gallon of vegetable oil.
Dude, it's I totally get that though. Well, and like for I find, I don't know, tell me if you agree, maybe if you have noticed it all. But I feel like recipes, like, let me restart that. I feel like ingredients have changed a lot since those recipes were written too.
Oh
So
yeah.
like I have some of my grandmother's recipes, especially for like baking. I feel like baking, you know, back in the day was not the science it is now. It was very
Hmm.
like estimated, done by weight, not necessarily by cups. So the
Yeah.
measurements were never quite done right when they were converted, maybe. But I always find though that some things like, you know, some recipes will call for like all these weird ingredients to really harshen the flavor of something. And it's
Hmm.
like we don't really need to do that anymore because these vegetables don't taste like that anymore. It's like
Yeah.
ingredients have changed since, especially like apples. That's another one I find. Apples
Hmm.
are not bland anymore. So when you make an apple pie, you really don't need all of the sugar it says because it's just not, apples don't come, you know, off of orchards anymore. They come
Yeah.
off of, you know, fucking like assembly lines. So like
Exactly.
it's all just different. So I don't know if you notice that at all whenever you cook older recipes and it's like, oh, this isn't, you know, this really is different now than what it might have been before.
I notice I pay so much attention to like people who make like people legitimate people who actually know their shit that make like healthier versions of like desserts or
Sure.
like
Yeah.
their version of like there's still sugar and whatever in it, but it's like not the same amount of sugar and like not all these
Yeah.
like different oils that are used to like keep things moist or
For
like
sure.
whatever the fuck. Like that's a big thing that I've noticed. What the hell else was I gonna say? Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me is like
Yeah.
just ingredients have changed. People are sweetening things with maple syrup and honey instead of like
Yeah.
bleached sugar, or like just even focusing on buying like unbleached like flour instead of
Yeah.
buying bleached flour like makes a huge difference in flavor to me, like because I bake a lot. I've started doing it since like I can't go anywhere or do anything
Yeah. Yeah.
anymore. I
That's
literally
awesome
bake
though.
while I work. Sometimes I've made like so much banana bread. But I've noticed like such a big difference when I use like Bob's Red Mill like unbleached flour versus like Pillsbury bleached shitty flour,
Yeah.
or like cane
Yeah.
sugar or like organic like unbleached like cane sugar instead of like bleached sugar, like white sugar.
Domino sugar, you know,
Yeah.
or yeah. No, I totally get the refined sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. And I think too, you know, the sugar craze, it's weird right now because everyone's realizing that high fructose corn syrup is in everything.
Hmm.
And now brands are starting to realize that, oh, we need to make non high fructose corn syrup things because that's a market that's
Hmm.
starting to grow. The big one for me is ketchup. I
Yeah.
hate buying ketchup that has high fructose corn syrup in it.
Primal
And
Kitchen. Primal Kitchen everything. That is my favorite
God,
brand of everything.
I look for stuffs all the time. I read the ingredients all the time. And
Hmm.
it's just, it is frustrating too of how, like, you know, I feel like part of me wants to buy all of those things because it's what I grew up on. But at the same time, if I eat it, I'm going to feel like just a terrible. I'm just going to feel terrible. Like it's not
Yeah.
going to be good. And I
I
remember
have
I
the same
ate,
struggle. Oh my God.
yeah, I
I feel
ate
you so
like,
much on that.
you know, those like Tyson Anytizer wings that you can get, fucking dangerous.
Yep.
I had the buffalo ones with blue cheese dressing. Let me tell you, Dylan had no sympathy for me. It's like, you're on your own, pal. Like
You did this to yourself.
he
What'd
literally
you
was
think was
like,
gonna happen?
I was like whimpering in pain, and he's like, I don't know what you expected. Like, oh man. Okay. But what I was gonna say was, with the cookbook, I love having the cookbook. The cookbook of my family, I think that went to another family member, but I
Mhm.
was the one that fixed all the recipes so they worked. Like that was my job.
Mhm.
But I that's one thing I hope though, like I have the cookbook. There's a big binder I have and it just says Wesley's recipes. I got it. It's super like 2002. Like, it's got this like the block lettering that was like kind of boyish. It was like the boy font, not the girl
Yeah.
font. But I got it for, I think it was either my birthday or Christmas that year. And it's fucking like book bound, taped, duct taped. I've had to fix the ring binder part. Like it's been through the ringer, but I still have it. And
Oh yeah.
I hope this survives whoever one of my nieces or future nieces or nephews cook. It's like I hope
Mhm.
this fucking makes it. But um yeah, so we've talked a lot about this next question, which is how your ethnicity and cultural background affect the food you eat.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to kind of skip ahead a little bit because that's kind of been a huge, I don't want to
Yeah.
just make you repeat things. So, and we've also talked about the next one, which is about like your nana and your mom. So actually, let's talk a little bit about your mom though, because
Mhm.
what is your mom kind of known for you with food? Or like how do
What do
you
you
how
mean, like?
like how so like the relationship between you and your nana was obviously very much like that Italian food, like
Mhm.
the classic old world way of cooking. Did you have like a different relationship like in regards to food with your mom?
Yes, my mom has taught me like as much as involved as my nana had me in the kitchen. I've learned so much more from my mom because my nana was like weird about my mom like learning certain things. I think because like Italians are fucking weird and they keep everything a secret and like they don't want anybody to make the recipe as good as they made it because they want to be the person who makes the best sauce or makes the best whatever.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like they
Yeah.
kind of had this like competitiveness. So my mom was always like the sous chef instead of like really getting in there and like learning, and like she wasn't allowed in the kitchen when my great nana was cooking because she, even though she's Italian, she has blonde hair like me, and my great nana would say, I can't see your hair if it gets in the food, so you have to stay out of the kitchen. So like my
Oh,
mom wasn't allowed to like cook with my great nana growing up.
wow.
Uh but so my mom has like whenever she makes something, like when I was like a teenager, I was disinterested in like everything that wasn't like listening to Eminem. But my mom would like
That was the
walk
same
me.
with me, except it was Avril Lavigne.
Oh my god, me too. I like had hair like her. I was
Yeah, let's
obsessed.
get it, but let's talk. Okay, brief thing. Did you have an emo phase?
Holy shit. It was like most of my teen years, I think, until
I
I was like 17.
It was until I was gay, but mine was so about I quit it at about 14, but or no, maybe 15. That was when I transitioned to be like colors and Aeropostale and like so I feel like my emo phase I wore like the same black hoodie every day. I
Hmm.
had Vans that were black. Um, I had slanted cut bangs.
Dude, oh my god. Do you remember trip pants?
Yes, trip
Yeah, I
pants.
had like 12 pairs of
My
trip
parents
pants.
wouldn't buy them. They're like, you're not shopping at Hot Topic. Like,
I fucking got my bitch ass job at Jewel when I was 15, and I started buying myself trip pants because I wanted them so bad. I had plaid ones with suspenders that hung down. You didn't put them on your body, they hung down like behind you.
yeah.
I was such an asshole. I was like the biggest emo shithead there ever was.
You never dyed your hair though, did you?
Never dyed my hair. That was one thing. My mom was like, if you fucking dye your hair, you're gonna be so sorry. Like, because I have like naturally blonde hair, and that's like
Yeah,
not super common. So my
you've got like Kelly Ripa hair. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's
And
like
my
that
mom
kind of
was like,
blonde. Like
she's like, you'll never get your blonde hair back if you dye it black, and you're gonna hate yourself when you're in your 20s and you're still recovering from dyeing your hair black, which probably wasn't real, but like I was so scarred from her being like, don't dye your
uh
hair, that I never did.
the dye wouldn't because blonde is hard to recolor. I mean,
Yeah.
and maybe it would have for a while it would have grown in kind of darkish,
Hmm.
but you would have regained it eventually. And if not,
Yeah.
I mean, you could have always redyed your hair blonde and that would have fixed it. So,
Yes.
but what I will say, I'm thankful you never permed your hair because that would have fucked up your hair.
That I never did. I have like kind of natural waves. I don't wear them very often, but like I never wanted to like heat damage my hair too much.
I tried to get a perm. I
Oh
didn't do it
no.
right, and I didn't leave it in long enough, and I washed it
Mhm.
too quickly. But it worked for like 4 days, and then it fucking didn't work. Like, and those were the days I didn't wash it. It was like, but it was really bad. My hair just can't do it, and I fucked up my
Yeah.
hair for it though. For years, my hair grew with these weird waves that I'd have to like curl out if I did my hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was not brief. I'm so sorry. But emo, so you were so you're talking about your mom and how so when you were a teenager you didn't really.
Yeah, I wasn't like into learning anything when I
Sure.
was a teenager, but like my mom would I still remember what she said to me. So like she would walk me through a recipe when she was doing it and I would like hang around because I was like, I don't want to be an asshole and show my mom that I'm not interested in this. But when I was like 20 something, I was like, hell yeah, show me everything. I want to know
Yeah.
everything. So like when I go home, she like walks me through every recipe she does, or like how she does like certain like styles of potatoes, or like any shit like that, or like sheet pan veggies. Like she loves doing that. And like she walks me through how she does that. And like
Yeah.
my relationship with her in terms of that is like very, very solid. She has shown me like everything I know. And on top of the fact that like me and Carlton watch so much YouTube in terms of like cooking and baking.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't watch more if we tried. Like are you familiar with Binging with Babish?
Yes. Yes.
Holy shit, he's
Yeah.
my favorite person on the planet. I love him so much. We watch him all the time. He shows you all this shit and he's just like so fucking cool. And then what's his name from Bon Appetit? Brad Leone, I think is how you say his name.
I'm
I
not
have
sure
to like
on that one.
I'm sending you his videos when we get done with this because
Yeah.
he's a riot. But like I love watching him. So like Carlton like thinks he knows everything in the kitchen because he watches YouTube, and I'm like, you don't fucking know anything. Get out of my way. He actually is a really good cook, but I'm never gonna tell him that. But yeah, like my mom showed me like all this shit. Like I know how to do a lot of stuff that like a lot of people like my age still don't know how to do because of like everything she showed me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important, you know, that people our age are in tune to what their parents were doing in the kitchen if they cooked. And, you know, I'm very thankful that I had a family member sort of force that upon me in a way. That was like, if you've got 2 hands, you're useful.
Yeah.
And come be useful. Don't just stand there. Like, you know, because I think like every kid at some point takes some kind of interest in what the kitchen is. Whether or not that ignites them into a cook, you know, who knows? But I feel like it's great that you had a family, you know, that took advantage of that wonderment. It was like, well, you're wondering there, just sit here and do something then, like, you know, and see if you like it. And so I think that's really important for families to keep doing, you know, as hard as it can be, especially now when I feel like food is so divisive in a way because, you know, food is not getting any cheaper, but the food that is getting cheaper is food that we shouldn't be eating.
Yep.
And so it's tough nowadays to really have a balanced diet with kids. And so, if any, you know, in any way that people can have a kitchen be a big part of their family I think that's super important. And yeah, I think you and I totally agree that, you know, we're super grateful for that because it's not only has it taught us a lesson and taught us something that is practical and like what we do every day, but we also know how to throw badass parties because we know what it takes to feed armies of fucking people. It's like it's gonna be fine. This is all gonna work out. If anything gets really bad, we'll just go get drunk with the turkey downstairs. Like I love how during Famsgiving, you and I totally escaped to the other kitchen to just get the fuck away from everyone. Like,
you
Taylor,
just have to. It's too many distractions.
Taylor, come help me. Like, let's get the hell out of this kitchen. Yeah. Well, so that's how. Well, before this is like my last like real question before the clickbait question. So, the one thing that you and I think really bonded over, not only as friends but also as foodies, is Thanksgiving. We have a big group of people that we're all friends with and we all love to hate and hate to love. And we try every year. This year, it's probably not going to happen, was my thought. But we do every year have this thing called Famsgiving, and it's literally like 25, 30 people. Like, it's a fuckload of people. And Taylor and I plan the whole thing with whomever is hosting it. And how did that start? Did that just become, I remember. So you wanted to do Famsgiving, and I was all for it. And you assigned food to everyone, and my name wasn't on the list. And I was like, I don't have to cook that day? And Derek was like, nah, bro, you're doing the fucking turkey. And I was like, no one informed me of this. So I made him drive to Jewel. I was like, well, we have to buy a turkey if there's going to be a turkey. So
yeah,
I made him shove like a 20-pound turkey in his freezer.
That sounds about right. I remember going through that list, and that was like before I knew you like super well. I had no idea you cooked originally, because like that was when I kind of like reignited all my friendships with all of them, because we all lost touch for a few years. We were in college, and then like after the fact we all like became best friends again, and like everybody moved to the city. So when I first met you, I didn't know that you were such an incredible cook. And thanks. I like just that. I just like assigned things to everybody, and then I think it was one of those things where Derek volunteers you for something that you didn't like ask to be volunteered for.
Dude, what the hell? It happened. And he's like, I never do that. He's gonna get
so mad at me for saying that shit.
I know,
Anytime
but I'm supporting you. Okay. I have fucking proof. Like, that's so funny though.
Yeah, he did that. He was like, Wesley is gonna make the turkey, so just assign that like all the shit to everybody else.
As much as I could give him shit about it, I'm very thankful that he gave that was my task, because well, what it evolved to then the next year, which was sort of like we did the first year. Now this is the like legit, planned, we know how it's going to go Famsgiving. I cooked fucking so much food, and it was so much fun. Like, but no, Famsgiving is like you and I's group thing. And I mean, I don't know. Thanksgiving in my family was always kind of small. It's just kind of like maybe 6 of us. And I feel like the way I always envision Thanksgiving is what we do. It's like fucking 25 people. There's enough charcuterie plates to like, feed like all of Dimitri's family. And like, there's such a variety of things. And, we won't make the mistake again like we did on year 2 when we told everyone to bring a dessert, which was a terrible goddamn idea, because then we had 30 pies or some crazy shit. It gets bigger every time I say it. I think we had like 12 pies.
There were just way too many.
And like a tray of cookies. I was like, Jesus Christ. Well, and I looked at you and I was like, oh, that I made such a mistake telling
people. Yeah, we fucked that one up.
We were like, oh,
you live
fuck.
and you learn.
Yeah. But no, was Thanksgiving like a giant affair for your family, or was it quaint? Or
so I just had like a realization while you were saying that, actually.
I'm interested.
So like my family, when we were growing up, yes, holidays, huge deal, huge party with everybody there. It was always like crazy and like super fun. And then when my Nana passed away, everything changed, and like a lot of shit went down with my family. I'm not going to talk about, but like I can relate. Yeah, it went from like 50 people to like 10 of us, and then that 10 of us group like shrank to like, it was me, my mom, my dad, my uncle, sometimes my grandma. Like it'll be like maybe 5 people at holidays, and it's like it like just like came down to like nothing. So now it's like, which is kind of cool, because now we're like, let's go away for Thanksgiving this year. Let's do whatever the fuck we want. We don't have anybody to impress. We don't have to try that hard. It's not stressful. Like it's not like putting on this like huge party for people and like having to please everybody. But like it sucks because like the people that I love aren't there anymore, and like it's just not what it used to be. So I think the reason I put so much, I put everything into planning things with our group. Like, because it's like my family, like it's like my family of like these people I've known since high school, and like everybody that I just like love so much and that I've met along the way. And it means so much to me to like plan all this shit. And I'm sure it annoys people half the time, but like I love planning Famsgiving and like all these different events. Like I think I sent a list of like all the different events that I thought of for next year, and we can all be together again to the WhatsApp group. And it's like, it's crazy. It's all I do is think of like things that we can do.
I've been planning, it's funny because when I first came back, I thought this would only be a month at tops, maybe 2, maybe 3 if it was really bad.
Yeah.
And so I have this big plan of the King's Feast return party.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And it's like seafood buffet and like prime rib. I wanted prime rib. It's like, this is the first party we're going to have after a long time of not seeing each other. It has to be fucking memorable. I don't care how much it costs. We'll figure it out. Like, maybe not crazy, but we'll figure it out. But it's been so long now. And it's like, God, it's just, it's going to be so, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to bawl my eyes out when I see everyone in the same place.
I saw Nick
cry my eyes out.
When Nick was in town. I have barely hung out with anybody, and when I do, it's in an extremely small group, and even then I get nervous. Yeah. But now I'm getting to the point where I want to like start seeing, because I'm like, this is gonna happen forever. I need to make the best of it. I'm gonna fucking see my friends. I'm just gonna do it smart and like see 2 or 3 people at a time.
That's how Dylan and I have been. Yeah. It's like, let's just not go crazy, but let's be a little, see people when we can, where we can.
I fucking freaked out like when I saw Nick after like he moved and he like came back, and then I was just like him and Derek for a few hours, and like it was just like I like forgot how to be social. I don't remember how to talk to people that are not like my immediate family or Carlton or you guys through like a group chat or like occasional phone calls
or like a screen. Everyone's a screen now. Like
this fucking screens. Like we were so into like the Zoom like parties and shit, and then like it got to the point where like we realized it needed to be like smaller groups, and then everybody just kind of like fell off because we were like, we're bored of this, we hate this.
It's hard too with our group because we're such a strange thing of it's like all or nothing with our group. It's we all love each other intensely, we fight each other intensely when it happens, but we always come back to that place of, you know what, I love you, and that's what matters. And it's one of those things too where like it's hard to feel like we're being exclusive because we don't ultimately want that. And it's a great idea in theory. It's like, oh, and it's funny. I even had this idea for Famsgiving. I was like, what if we each host 3 or 4 people and we just have mini Famsgivings? And then we do one big group chat or one big Zoom call and it's Famsgiving. But I was like, I said that to my mom. She's like, yeah, well, who's coming to your house? Because everyone's going to want to be there.
Yeah.
She's like, if you're cooking, that's going to be a little exclusive. And I'm like, oh,
it's
fuck,
not fair.
No, it's like, and why put that on people? And it's not Thanksgiving if I don't burn the fuck out of myself somehow, or if I don't chop half of my hand off, or I don't do that. But like, it's not Thanksgiving if I don't do that. But no, I am, God, when we are able to all be in the same room, I'm like, it's just going to be insane. And, it's, Famsgiving though has always been the thing I always looked most forward to every year with our group. And, Vegas was fucking crazy fun when we went all into Vegas. And
speaking of Vegas, I have a quick thing for you. So
yeah.
One of the things that I thought of that we would do, because like, how we still joke about the shrimp club thing. Were you there for the shrimp club comment?
I don't think so.
Remember what, I think we all were kind of like in our own little groups at this point, but I remember, I think it was Chris who started it, but how there's those guys that are like every like 2 feet, there's a guy who's like strip club, and they like give you those like cards, like telling you where the strip club is.
Oh, strip club. I thought you said shrimp club.
I did say shrimp club. Because,
oh shit. Okay. Oh no.
This will all make sense. We were walking and we were all like just fucked up. I don't even know what time it was, but
none of us did. It was
were like in our prime like moment of Vegas, and like this guy
we're hitting our peak in Vegas. Our 3-day trip to Vegas. 2-day. Was it 2-day or 3-day?
It was 3 very short days.
2.5. We'll say 2.5.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We were walking past this guy, and I don't know why, but Chris just cracked. Like when this guy goes to strip club and Chris goes, shrimp club? And and then we all started going, shrimp club! And like the whole rest of the night, we all just kept screaming strip club at these strip club guys. And they would go, no, strip club. And we would go, popcorn shrimp. And we would talk about like different kinds of shrimp. So one of the
why was I not there? Oh my god, Dylan and I were probably just like wandering around, like looking through Caesar's Palace. Like we were probably like, ooh, stained glass windows. Like
I don't even know like what night it was. I just remember.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
Like the other day, I thought of. I was writing down events that I thought of, and I was like, what if we did a real life strip club? And then you were talking about all the like seafood and all that shit, and I was like, oh my god, we can combine that with real life shrimp club if we make it come
club
alive.
Reunion. We could like position shrimp on little like stripper poles, like like
we'll make like cards that we like pass out to each other about it.
Oh my gosh, shrimp club, shrimp club, shrimp club.
Shrimp
Oh my
club.
god, they'd be like favors. I really want to bring back party favors. Also, are you on board for that? Because I feel like Melissa kind of kicked it off because when she brought that like taco hat to my party and she brought a bunch of masks for a birthday one year and those people took them, I'm like, we need to have for the Christmas party some weird bad friends. Well, hey, if this podcast takes off, it'll just be our merch. So
yes.
But no, so the whole reason I brought up Famsgiving was really just to say, like, I love that, you know, I love our friendship, but I love that a big part of our friendship is taking care of people and, you know, making sure the group is kind of on some weird sort of equilibrium of craziness. And like, you know, I love that we share that idea of stasis in our group is just pure fun insanity. And like, we know, you know, it's nice that we all know how to have a good time, but at the same time, we honor the traditions and holidays that our families do too, because, you know, anyone can throw just like a drunk ass Christmas party, but we throw like a full on feast. And
there's always a theme. There's always some like crazy, complicated shit.
There's
always
a theme. You and I are the party planning committee. Oh I think Derek said that to me, and I was like, "No, don't ever call us that!" Like,
oh my god, we have to make shirts.
Yeah, the PPP or the PPC. Sorry, party planning committee. Oh man. Oh goodness. Okay, so my clickbait question that I've asked everyone: what are your top 5 food loves and top 5 food hates?
Oh boy. Okay. Top 5 food loves. I mean, anything Italian is basically like my first like love of all food. Then are we naming like dishes specifically?
Anything. It can be like cuisines, dishes, just food items, just like any, you know, you could switch from like a cuisine, a genre of food to like, you know, this one dish from this. It really could honestly be anything.
Okay, second thing is this stuffed like steak that my nana used to make that we haven't been able to figure out how to make sense, but it was amazing.
Oh my god.
It was like I think it was like there was blue cheese and like all this crazy shit and all these like herbs, and she would like cut like an X into it and like she would cook the steak and then like cut the X and stuff the like shit inside of it and then like bake it for a little bit. It was so fucking good. And then sushi is probably like my number 3.
Nice.
And then I feel like I need to make chocolate chip cookies higher on that list.
I mean,
but they're there.
They're
all equal.
They're all equal. Yeah.
True ranking. These are
that's
just
fine.
my
Yeah.
thoughts.
These are 5 things we love equally about food. I want to try this stuffed steak though. I really want to try and give that a whirl.
If I ever find the recipe, I will make it because it was so fucking good. Even when I was a kid, I liked it, which is like kids don't really like shit like that usually.
Sure.
So I must have been like really into it.
You are
number 5. Holy shit! I'm trying to like look around. Oh my god, I love breakfast food. Breakfast food is the best thing in the world.
Do you have a? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say if you don't like breakfast food, you're a fucking sociopath, serial killer. You're fucked up. You should live on an island of people who fucking don't enjoy life because you don't like breakfast food. So fuck anybody who doesn't like breakfast food. Publish this. I don't care who listens to it and who wants to murder me because of it, because I strongly believe in this.
Murder me. No, don't do that.
Murder me. I
don't go after Taylor. She'll fucking kick your ass, as you
True.
can tell from how she don't do it.
4'11", but I sound like a fat Jersey Italian Tony Soprano motherfucker.
I don't know about fat. I mean, like, I mean, I feel like when I talk on the phone with you, you're like the girl that, I shouldn't say girl, but like if we were in elementary school, that's what I'm trying to say. If we were in like grade school, you'd be the girl that I would like want to be in your clique. I'd be like, I need to be friends with her because that's like a guaranteed thing. Like if there's no wishy-washiness there.
Fuck you up.
Yeah, and it's like she'll never fuck me up. I'll be her gay. It's fine. Like she has a space available for another gay. So
there's always room for another gay.
Yeah, there's tons. I feel like that would have been our friendship in like late grade school or like junior high, probably more junior high. And we're like, you're my gay, and I'm like, thank God, I'm never gonna get my fucking ass handed to me.
I wasn't this tough until like the middle of high school, basically, because like I kind of like was off in the shadows for a little while, and then like I just hated girls and stuff, and they were all really mean to me. So I was like, you know what? Fuck you, and fuck any girl who acts like that. I'm gonna fuck you up. Don't fucking try it with me. So
I wasn't tough at all. I was like never tough, but I would get girls to dump their homophobic boyfriends. That was my skill.
That's the way to do it.
Your boyfriend doesn't like gay guys. He's been lying to you.
He should fucking die.
Yeah, you're my best friend. I can't date him. Like sooner or later, 6 texts later, like, I'm so sorry your girlfriend dumped you. What was your username on Grindr? That's my life. Anyway, okay, so now we're on to the top 5 food hates.
Yes.
And everyone, I will say, everyone has struggled with this. I've been surprised. Everyone has only really come to like 3, maybe 4. So I don't know if there's things.
The older you get, the more like your palate kind of like expands, and you like I hated pickles my whole life. Pickle flavor and anything. If I ordered like a burger and I asked for no pickles and they put pickles on it anyway, I could taste fucking pickles. I hated it. But now like I love, like, I started liking those salt and vinegar chips, and that's what made me kind of like graduate to like the more vinegary like pickle flavor, and now I fucking eat pickles. So I made that kind of like graduation in terms of what I don't hate anymore. But
yeah.
Like, I don't even know. I know there's some shit that Carlton's given me that I've been like, oh my God, don't ever give this to me again.
Well, I know you've mentioned mushrooms, so we can count mushrooms.
Yeah, hate mushrooms. Olives, can't stand olives.
Me neither.
What else do I like?
Especially when they're just nice and cold and out of a wet can. Those are the best.
Oh God, I know, what the fuck. Oh, I just can't do it. What else do? Honestly, okay, I don't like hate it, but I'm gonna get like executed for this, but I don't really like Mexican food. I know that's really fucked up, but like I like authentic Mexican food. I don't know why I have to either like really be in the mood for it, but it's like the last cuisine I would choose to eat.
Sure. I mean, I feel like that's one that's not too uncommon.
Yeah.
I feel like too that makes a lot of sense, just because you already have a food background that has strongly flavored things, and that is a very, you've eaten it your whole life and liked it your whole life. It doesn't surprise me that, that another culture's sort of like ultimate flavor type of food doesn't really appeal to you, because you kind of already have that filled for yourself. Like,
that totally makes sense, actually.
It's like I already have that's how I would think of it. It's like I already have a genre that kind of offers me the same satisfaction. So I'm just, I
really think that's like exactly it, because like Mexican food is like the only other thing I can think of. It's like, it's all like a variation of like a few ingredients. Like Italian food is the same way. It's like a bunch of variations of like the same shit. Yeah. So like totally. I already get so much of that with Italian food that like Mexican food, I'm just like, here we go again. Like it's all the same shit, and it's all the same kinds of like flavors. So like for me, like that's why it didn't appeal to me. But like so
Sure,
many people love tacos, and I fucking don't care about tacos at all.
I mean, and some people love, pasta and really don't like Asian food. I know people that don't like noodles specifically, or like pho, but they'll eat, spaghetti marinara any day.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I think I think it's just one of the ones where people like to be shocked about it because it seems like such a universal food that everyone loves. It's like everyone likes to be face first into a plate of nachos. Like that's right. But
nachos, it's funny because like nachos is like the last appetizer I would order. If like there were a list of a million other things, I would not like that would be the last thing I would choose.
Sure. Do you have a favorite like appetizer food?
I'm really lately I'm into like buffalo cauliflower. I don't know why.
It's good.
Just like really
I like
into
buffalo.
it.
Yeah.
Love a classic like
sauce,
mozzarella stick, like wings, shit like that. I really love, or like spinach artichoke, anything.
For sure.
Love that.
You should try if you ever go to a restaurant that has it, you should try fried pickles.
Ooh, I probably would like it now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good, and they come with like kind of a tangy sauce. I forget where I get them, but they're really good.
I never used to like eat that shit, but now I probably like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, were there any other things that you really don't particularly like? You don't have to fill up to the whole 5, but
okay, I thought of one. Chicken sausage. I fucking hate chicken sausage.
Yeah, nah,
it's
not
bullshit.
No, it's not
like,
real.
To put it like Ron Swanson would probably put it, like he would say like it's just like it's not sausage that is pretending to be sausage. Like
yeah.
I do not understand it. The texture is always weird, even when it's like made from like fresh ground chicken. I do not like the texture of it. It's rubbery always.
Yeah. For me, it's so heavily like salted. It gives me heartburn.
Yeah,
like,
you have to like really season it and put a bunch of shit in it to make it actually taste good. Whereas like regular sausage is just like fucking pork, and you're like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it, people can't eat pork, but there's also like, turkey sausage is pretty decent. Like it'll do.
Turkey sausage is great.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you on that one. It's I've tried it, and the thing is, I feel like it never tastes right. It's like something's off about it. It's like this wants to be so much like sausage, but there's one flavor that isn't right, and it's like super distinct. But well, were there any other ones you don't like, or
I think that's all I can think of right now,
for
honestly.
Sure, yeah. Well, yeah, there was another thing I was gonna say. Oh, I remember, I wrote it down, thank God. What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish, like on the table? What's one thing you have to have?
I honestly, besides like the obvious like stuffing, to me, I could honestly go without turkey. I don't even care about turkey.
You know what?
Much.
That's so true. It's like the sides are really the stars, like,
Yeah, I'm all about like the stuffing, and because we don't stuff turkeys anymore, like that's like a dated thing. I feel like no one stuffs a turkey.
It's a sanitary issue mostly, because a lot of people wouldn't cook it long enough, and then they'd get fucking like salmonella.
Yeah.
My Nebraskan snuck out really hard. Salmonella. Do you want a bag to puke in for your salmonella? Anyway, so yeah, no, okay, but I do get your point though. Turkey, it's expected. Turkey's expected. Like, but do you
like,
have
it? As good as it is, it's just like, okay, it's fucking turkey. Like, I get it. I want the stuffing and the sweet potato casserole. I'm not even supposed to like eat sweet potatoes because I'm like kind of allergic to them, but I do it anyway. I get this weird, like, I get like sores on my tongue and my throat gets scratchy, but I don't like go into anaphylactic shock. It's like a mild, like, food intolerance. It's like the same thing with nuts. Like, I could eat nuts if I wanted to, like peanuts, tree nuts, whatever, but they make my face break out so bad that it's not worth it. My skin was so terrible before I cut them out of my diet. So like, I just won't go back and I won't eat them until I go to an allergist and can eat this kind of shit again, which I can't do right now, but eventually will.
I know, right? Yeah, I can't go to a fucking anything.
Yeah.
I can't go to anything. Yeah, I didn't know that you had like the mild allergy to sweet potatoes. Does the same thing happen with yams if someone uses yams instead?
So I think I have like my reaction is more so to like if I'm like trying to be healthy and I just like chop up a sweet potato and like bake it like fresh.
Yeah.
That I have a more severe reaction to that than I would like canned yams that are used in like sweet potato
Sure.
casserole. So
Got
usually
it.
I can eat those and be just fine. I
Okay.
might get like a little bit like my tongue might hurt a little bit,
Yeah.
but like I'll
I
probably
wonder
be
if
okay
you
with
ate what
that.
I make, because the sweet potatoes no, I didn't make the sweet potatoes the last time. When I do Thanksgiving, I make a sweet potato gratin, which is really thin sliced sweet potatoes, and it's covered with
Mhm.
like ginger snaps, cream, maple syrup,
Oh.
sugar, and like thyme, and a little bit
Mhm.
of rosemary, and that's baked until it
Oh
just
my
becomes
God.
this like hot, seething, sweet deliciousness. But
I would let myself go into anaphylactic shock
yeah,
if
I'm
it
like
meant that I could eat
maybe
that.
I honestly thought about making it. I was like, maybe I should make that for Famsgiving, because I didn't know that you were allergic to them, and that's all sweet potato. It's not yams.
Yeah.
So what? Well, I'm glad though that you make the sacrifice every year to enjoy it. I mean, not
Oh
a lot
hell
of
yeah.
people will do that, but I totally agree with you. I think sides are, they evolve and get better. I feel like, and turkey is always turkey,
Mhm.
but well, cool. Those were all my questions.
Yay.
Were there any other things you wanted to talk about or ask me, or do you want to like promote anything? Do you have a
Oh
social
man.
you want to promote?
I'm
Like,
so boring right now. I like am not promoting anything. Literally all I've done is just kind of like I like felt like I never had any time like for like myself or like the thing like dance or like yoga, things I really
yeah,
loved before
yeah,
quarantine. So it's kind of like I hate to even say it because I know there are so many people that are struggling from like losing jobs or like having to take care of their families. And I like feel like a piece of shit for being like, I just focusing on myself. But like I really
yeah.
and it's like I took the time to finally do that because never in my life have I like taken that kind of time. I'm always like hustling and like working a job that's very demanding, whether it's like when I was bartending a shit ton or working 60 hours a week at my current job. Like, even though
Yeah.
I'm working from home, like I still work a shit ton, but
Yeah.
I've been just like taking this time to like focus on my yoga practice and I'm in better shape than I've been in years because I'm
That's
cooking all my
awesome.
own meals and I've gotten to be a better cook because of it because
Yeah.
like all I do is cook and like me and Carlton spend half of our day in the kitchen just like cooking shit and like doing different stuff and like arguing about what he thinks his like YouTube technique is versus like my technique that's taught from like my family or whatever. Um, but yeah, I've just like taken this time to like I bought like online dance classes and like I do that a couple times a week and like I move everything around in my apartment because like I just use the hardwood floors to like keep up with like dance or whatever. Like I'm honestly really not like I'm kind of boring. I'm just like focusing on my shit finally because I never have had that time in my life.
I just want to say thank you again so much for being on the show, and you're just such a like, it's a special bond because we do care so much about food and
Mm-hmm.
people, and fostering that family feeling among all of our bad friends.
Yeah.
Which is it's such a pleasure to be able to sit and talk and learn about your history and fill in the blanks that I kind of knew. It's like, I know this is her nana's recipe, but I don't really know much about her. But like, I
Mm-hmm.
assumed she was the grand Italian matriarch cook that you've described her as, and it makes me so happy to know that, because it's just it's such a fantasy for me to have someone cook like that, cook for me. And
Mm-hmm.
um I love that your family, makes such a point of food as mine did growing up.
Yeah.
It's such a privilege in a way to have food be a central figure of a family. And what I was going to say, now that I'm just remembering it, when my grandmother died in 2015, that same kind of thing happened to my family. We
Mm-hmm.
all broke off into groups, and it's been maybe like 6 years, and only now are we starting to kind of drift back together, because just shit's gone down and things have happened. And I think it is really devastating when someone like that, a character like that in a family,
Yeah. They're like the glue of
goes.
everything.
It
They
is,
keep
they
everybody
really
together.
are. Yeah, because they've seen it all, and
Yeah.
they are the only ones that are wise enough to know that feuds don't last forever, and why dwell
Mm-hmm.
on them, and why why keep a family apart over it? And, you know, it definitely was hard when my grandmother died because we didn't have that voice anymore. We didn't have that unifying person. But I just thought, you know, your story about her is just absolutely beautiful, and it's the cook it's like the fantasy cook in my mind. It's having a grandparent that just holds it all together, and it's through food. And so it's just such a great story.
It really is. It's like an expression of love.
I'd like to thank my friend Taylor for being on this show. If you'd like to support this show, don't forget to subscribe, and please give the show a rating on your favorite podcast directory. If you'd like to get in touch with us, please email us at gfbf@arcadiapodcastnetwork.com. I hope you join me next week for another episode of Good Food for Bad Friends from the Arcadia Podcast Network.